How do you do? It's Kaya, isn't
Kaya,
it?
yeah.
Good, have a seat.
Thank you.
And you can ignore them, and you've had no Alexander lessons before, is that right?
I've read a book about it.
So yes, you've read the book, and it tells you that a good body creates a good mind. Is that what it said, or
Yeah, probably.
something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's a good beginning. And any reason that you might be interested in Alexander apart from volunteering for this first session?
Well, I
Anything?
was curious about it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any postural aches and pains, anything that troubles, anything that you might find particularly inspiring about Alexander?
Well, I mean, there's like old pain in the hip.
Yeah.
And this one here, that is actually an ache.
Okay.
And
pain
then
in the
also, it's like sometimes, I notice that I have tension in my body. And it's not always easy to release it, no? Because it's kind of like one thing to notice the tension, and it's quite another to get rid of it.
Right. So you notice the tension, but it's not so easy to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily know in which direction and where it's coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
So right now, for instance, I feel like I'm a little tense in my shoulders.
Yes.
And then I'm like doing a little bit of this. I mean,
Yes.
if nobody was watching, I would do that.
Yeah.
And then it still wouldn't. But then it's kind of like sometimes I feel like I substitute it with movement, but it's wiggling.
Okay,
So it's like
that's a
you
good beginning.
wiggle around rather than sitting in the tension, but it doesn't really go away.
It doesn't go away just by thinking
it's
about
just
it.
a distraction, more or less.
Yeah. Okay, so what's going to happen is today you're going to ignore this lot. They're just here to examine me and see how I deliver a first lesson to someone that knows nothing about Alexander.
Okay.
And you're here to experience a first lesson for yourself and ask me any questions you like, and you can't do anything wrong anyway, because I'm the one that's being examined. I'm the demonstrator.
Yeah.
So you're here just to support me, really,
Okay.
demonstrating what the technique's all about. So before we start, do you know that I'm going to use my hands to guide you? Do you know the basics of what's about to happen, or not even that?
Well, from what I've read about it, it's like there could be like a little here and there,
That's
and
right.
that would release the tension and stuff.
Something like that. Yeah, I'll be moving my hands maybe here, and there may be some releasing of tension as we go
great.
along. Yeah, that's it.
That's fine. Yeah.
Good. So apart from this, that hurts sometimes, a little bit uncomfortable, anything else? Any other?
The rest of it comes up from time. I'm not really in a lot of pain because I'm dancing a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm quite in a good place, I think, physically. So there's a little bit of a pain here on that toe, or I sometimes have a little bit of a cramping in my calf because I seem to have an incorrect movement pattern where I am thinking I'm stretching it, but it actually like I do this.
Yes.
But I actually tense it up. And so I've learned to, if I feel I need a stretch, not to do it quite so much.
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure what to do with this.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a paradoxical advice, which is I want you to do nothing with it at all.
Okay.
And then we'll see where we go. All
Okay.
right? That's the
Good.
starting point.
Good.
But you don't have to do any local correction. And that may be the theme of what we do today.
Okay, great.
You might feel something here and here and here, and you might think, oh, what do I do to release it? How do I get rid of it? Do I wriggle? Do I distract myself? All of those things, today at least, you're going to be asked not to do anything local.
Okay.
All right?
Good.
And then we see where we go.
Okay.
All right, so
Good.
you can start standing, and you can look out of the window and come back to the stool. That's good. And I start to work. So I'm going to move your head. And at the moment, my role is to move you, okay? So I'm the mover. And I might move a shoulder, I might move an arm like out here, and I'm the mover, and if I lift it, that's my responsibility, and if I let go, then it just lets go by itself, but you don't have to hold it for me. That's perfect. And if anything comes up, any interesting sensation or a question, feel free, all right?
Okay.
How long have you been dancing for? Is that something that you've done many, many years?
For a while.
Yeah.
I find it difficult to do nothing and speak.
It's hard to do. Yes. That is this lot find it difficult too. Yeah, to do nothing when we're working together and to talk at the same time. Yeah. Now, I am not sure, but what would you say you find particularly difficult about talking and being worked on? Is it because you've got some idea that somehow
No, it's
you
just
need to...
mechanical. It's like if you are holding my neck and I am trying to speak, then I'm moving all of this.
Exactly, gesturing, like talking with your body languaging.
Yeah, and also just opening the mouth.
Exactly, yeah. Now that would be even more difficult if I had my hand over your mouth, then it would be, quite problematic. But right now, I have my hand here. Is that difficult for you to talk?
No, not at all.
But when I'm here, a little bit more difficult?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So then you need to know that even if I have my hand here, I'm not trying to keep your head in any particular position. That you can still gesture, you can still talk, you can still move your head around.
Okay.
I'm not going to keep it in the right place.
Okay.
And nor am I trying to get a right place. That's really important to know.
Okay.
And also, this may sound rather bizarre, you don't have to become aware of your body.
Okay. Yeah, I know that one from osteopathy treatment.
Oh yes, have you had a lot of osteopathy?
I had osteopathy treatment, and I have learned that it's very important sometimes not to zoom in, because that creates a story.
Well, that's right. So for an osteopath, even more critically, they're about to do some high velocity thrust, aren't they? And if you anticipate what's going to happen, you might freeze. And that might create a lot more inflammation than is required. You'll freeze, and they won't be able to do their job of getting the manipulation going at that particular point, because the freeze prevents it. So they will distract you, they'll make you laugh, and they'll say, whatever.
Well, not the osteopath I've seen. He just said, can you stop thinking?
Stop
don't
thinking.
Track, don't track.
Does that work?
Yeah, it does work after a while. Once I started trusting him and understood what he meant and why he said it.
Yeah, so after a while when you trust.
Initially it's like, but isn't it good if I'm looking, but
that's it.
Isn't it good if I'm there as well?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, just if you take that mind away. Then,
yes, so his job is to take your mind away from that concentration, anticipation, so he can do his job. Yeah. And as you said, after a while you trusted him, it became easier to not become hypervigilant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. And so when you trust that I'm not going to do a funny crack in your neck, I'm not going to hurt you, you'll trust my hands aren't going to do anything unpleasant, I hope.
Well, you create space in the body, so.
Create space in the body, yeah.
Yeah, you do, and so it's quite feels quite good. And it travels down the spine, like into the kidney area, what you're doing right now.
Do you know quite a bit about anatomy and physiology?
Well, spotty. It's all very spotty. So I know one thing and then the next thing I don't.
That's it. And again, nothing in the neck, that's fine. So I can take your head here, and I can take your head here, and then wait there for a while. Yeah, and now wait there and stop. Now, and things are going to get a bit more complicated now, because you're not just going to stand for the time of the lesson. You're going to go into an activity which is more complicated than simply standing. It's called sitting. So in a minute you're going to sit yourself in a chair, and I'll still have my hand somewhere guiding you. So right now take the hips back as you bend the knees as you sit. Yeah, all the way to the stool, and then wait there at the stool, and I'll move you back again. And I'll move you forwards. Yeah, and I'll move you back. Stop there. I'll move you forwards and hold yourself there. Stop. I'll move you backwards. So at the moment, as you can see, I'm the mover, and you're letting me do the movements. And wait there for a while. So now I could say to you, we're about to stand. You're about to stand. But can you feel that you're not getting ready to stand? You're just staying there. Can you feel that you're not putting a big preparation into it?
I'm not preparing. No.
You're not preparing, exactly. So now, because you're not preparing, I'll take you back again, which is good. And I'll take you forwards again, and I'll help you, hopefully, not prepare. So the not preparing idea is going to be quite important. I have to take you off not preparing. Because as you hinted, when you prepare, what would happen to your body?
I would tense.
You would tense, yeah.
First thing I would do is I would put my feet forward.
That's
to have
right.
a
Exactly.
Foot on, like
Exactly.
This, you know,
Exactly.
I would do this to have the feet on the ground.
Exactly. You would.
So
you don't need to. That's right.
okay. But this is where you
That's it.
placed me. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where I placed you, and you've prevented yourself from getting ready, from preparing to stand with your feet going forwards and all the other things you'd do. So I'm going to move you forwards again. And you still haven't prepared.
But you don't want me to, right?
Exactly. You're doing exactly the right thing.
Okay, good.
You can't do anything wrong anyway, but you're doing what's required. It helps me do my work. I'm moving you forwards again. Stop. And the back isn't getting ready, your neck isn't getting ready, and your feet are where they are. And then I can say to you, without getting ready with my hands, you can stand up with your heels. All the way up. And then you got out of a chair without getting ready. Did you feel that? You found yourself standing without getting ready.
Oh, you mean without pretending I'm on a springboard that I have to push back in order to push up?
Exactly. Yeah.
But you see, I think if I wouldn't do all this dancing, I don't think I would be able to do that.
Yeah, your background may help you understand what we're after. Yeah, very, very possible. That you've got this skill, that you understand enough about yourself not to prepare and put all this tension into yourself. And that may be something you've developed.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's...
Well, and obviously I work with people who aren't dancers and I have to teach them the same thing, so people do differ.
Well, what I meant probably was, yes, I got up without preparing, but at the same time, it didn't surprise me. Maybe that's the point.
Didn't surprise you that you got up
Yeah,
so easily?
yeah.
Yeah, bend the knees, and at the stool stop, and then stand up again, and then bend the knees again, and then heels, and bend the knees again, heels, and bend the knees again, and heels, and bend the knees, and heels, and bend the knees, and heels, and bend the knees, heels. That's it, nothing to do, and wait. Now put your feet wider for now. Yeah, and the other one, and the other one. Yeah, and stop. Now soften just a touch behind your knees so that they're not, you're fine. You don't have to sit down yet. And right now you're not preparing to sit down. And then take the hips back and bend the knees and stop. And then bend the knees and stop there, and then stop there. And then all the way to the stool till you reach it and wait there. And then stand up again and bend the knees again. And then heels. Yes, you've got it, heels.
My heels are on the ground.
Yeah, it's fine. Even if they come up a bit, it's fine. And then heels again. And then bend the knees again. And then heels. And bend the knees. What's it like to move like this? Heels again.
Nice.
Why?
Because it's simple.
It's simple, yes, as opposed to...
Well, there are no flourishes in the movement.
As opposed to what?
There are no flourishes in the movement, no unnecessary movement.
There's no unnecessary movement. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, there's no...
So it's quite enjoyable.
It's enjoyable because there's no unnecessary tension creeping in. There's just the simplicity of the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say no unnecessary movement, you're saying, really, you're not putting all this extra tension into the neck and the spine or the shoulders or the hips.
Yeah, or the sideways.
Or the sideways, anything.
Sideways movement.
Exactly.
Which I think I would recognize would be my kind of thing.
It might
be like to kind of like wiggle the hips.
It might be, yeah.
You know?
So how are the hips doing right now?
They're okay.
Heels. So what part of you is doing the work? That's an obvious question, isn't it? What part of you seems to be working?
Well, I think the legs.
Well, yeah, definitely the legs.
And I think the feet.
And the feet, correct. The feet are pushing into the ground and your legs are doing some muscle work.
Yeah.
And then
I think the back does some work as well because it's not just stacked up straight.
it's not exactly.
You
So the
know.
back's doing a different sort of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not tension work,
No.
but something's doing some lifting work or poising work. Something in the back is working.
Yeah, it's like along the spine. It's because the angle is changing a bit.
The angle of the back is now changing, yes.
Yeah.
Bend the knees, heels, all the way up, yeah.
What I do notice is that I am holding tension in my right hand, particularly the middle finger. So that's something I'm all the time trying to re-release when I notice it.
Yeah, so now if I said to you don't release it locally,
Yeah,
and let it be there for a while,
okay.
and we'll see where it goes. And then bend the knees all the way.
The knees.
Yeah, you got it. And then hold yourself there. And then backwards, that's fine. And then forwards again, and hold yourself there, that's fine. Stop, and then stand up with the heels. What's it like to move like that?
It's good. But now more attention is coming into the right side of the back of the neck.
Yep, okay. Now the same advice, don't do anything about it. So you've got a sensation there, and we're not quite sure what it means, but you've got a sensation.
Yeah, it's like there's
And don't
thickening.
change it. What's that?
It's like a thickening.
Yes, there may be a toning. But you're not doing it on purpose.
No.
Fine. No. So then it's absolutely fine. Bend the knees. Yeah, and then stop at the stool. You got it. Yeah.
Or sit. Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll take you forwards. That's me moving you. And now I'm moving you back. And now I'm moving you forwards. And then stop. And my hands are now saying to you, don't rush. Don't rush, don't rush. Stay with me. Don't rush, don't rush, don't rush. Stay back with me. And at the same time as not rushing, staying back with me, you can stand with your heels. And then you can bend the knees without rushing to the stool. And then heels. And bend the knees. And heels. What's the movement like right now?
There's a little bit of a thing that I'm not sure whether your hand is pushing me down a little bit.
That's it.
You know, and that kind of like changes where the movement would go if your hand wasn't there.
That's correct.
So
my hands are really stopping you doing what you might want to do.
Yeah.
They are indeed. They are heels. And bend the knees. Heels. So they might be stopping you doing something, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
As you said, keeping something down.
Yeah.
Rather than flicking up.
Yeah.
Into a stress pattern. You're spot on. That's exactly what the hands are saying.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They're saying don't snatch, don't pull up. So there's good down, as in stay down, stay grounded, stay connected, stay earthy, stay non-stressy, stay composed. That's really what the hands are saying. Stay here, rather than being uptight. So that sort of up is not very good, is it? Uptight is not great.
No.
So when you're not uptight, you're down free. Not uptight, you're down free. And that's what my hands are there to keep you.
Okay.
Down free.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're very sensitive to what the hands are saying, so that's really interesting for us.
That's good.
It's good. You can come again.
Thank you.
And bend the knees. That's it, all the way. And then stop. And then heels again. Exactly. Bend the knees. And heels. Yes, bend the knees. Yes, and then wait there. I'll move you backwards and stop. And you can soften here. You don't need all that sit up straight either. Yeah, you can drop your tummy now. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what do you sense about yourself generally now compared to a little while ago?
Oh, you know, I feel like it's comfort in the body. It's like
Comfortable
a little
in
bit
the body,
like,
yeah.
Comfortable. It's like a little bit of a tingling, as if there was more space between the cells, so that there is a little bit of, kind of like they can vibrate a little bit more.
More vibration,
you know?
more space. Yeah, that would make sense.
So that's, and a little bit more of a defined kind of like tension in the right shoulder, like up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more defined. So I would say it's like, it's almost as like a little ache.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so that's where this has now all kind of sort of moved into.
Yeah, I'm going to move you back again. I'm going to move you forwards and then stop.
But I would assume, if I were to assume something, that has more of an emotional reason, because so much has been freed up that the body is kind of like having an emotional response to, hey, what is this?
Yeah.
So much freedom here and everything is effortless, you know.
Is that
Needs to
does it feel
find
emotional?
A place, it needs
Yeah.
to find a place for a little bit of fear
Yes.
that comes with
Yes.
freedom. So, and it seems to find that place here.
You know, you said something really well.
It becomes a bit warm.
A bit warm, more circulation. So with freedom can come fear or anxiety. That's very true.
So that's how I would
Very,
explain
very true.
that here.
Yeah.
Not like,
So most of the time, if you weren't here, with fear would come freeze. I want to control fear. So when you're here, and that softens, almost like you allow yourself to have the fear, but without the control, which is a very different story. Because most of the time, if we're doing stage fright or having an anxiety attack, we hold on for dear life. But that becomes a bit of a problem over time. So the way back home is to allow yourself to have the fear and anxiety and feel safe enough to have all of that, but without the control, which is a higher level of being frightened. Because then it's processable, it can work through, it doesn't get stuck. So yes, it might be a bit emotional, it might evoke some anxiety, but not an anxiety which throws you, because you're also free. That's really important. An anxiety where you're okay and safe enough to feel anxious, if that makes sense. It's a bit of a paradox.
yeah, it makes sense.
Let me take you further forwards and then stop. That's fine, so still nothing. And then stand up with the heels. Yes, and then bend the knees. And then heels. And bend the knees. And then heels. All the way up, and then walk around a little bit to maybe the wall and back again. And then back to the stool. What's it like to walk like that?
It's good, but I had a wobble in my left because there is a thing with the ankle.
Yes, so a little wobble. And what was the good side about that quality of walking? What feels quite nice?
Well, it feels relaxed, but it's also a little bit tense because I'm not sure what to look for. So
Great, okay.
I think,
Yes.
you know, if I were to just enjoy walking like that,
Yeah?
it would be more enjoyable than trying to figure out
You're right.
what to pay attention to.
Exactly. So that's why I said at the beginning, and it's a hard one to really understand. You don't need to pay attention to anything, but it's a hard lesson because most of the time we train ourselves to be on the ball, examining, checking, learning. And your role right now is in a way surrendering, not caring, just enjoying the walk. That's quite a lesson. As you said, it was enjoyable. Then you found yourself, what's going on? So I'm going to hopefully say to you, you don't need to check anything. Everything that's happening is designed to happen. And the enjoyable quality of ease is just there. So nothing to do. And wait there now. And then just bend the knees. All the way to the stool. And then stand up. Yes. So what's going on in the neck and back as you're sitting and standing right now? Heels.
Pressure from you.
That's right. My hands, and inside of the neck and spine. What's happening to the tension patterns in the neck and spine or the shoulders?
It's not so much. It's
Not
like,
so much.
I feel more in the ears now.
In the ears.
Yeah, it's like going here sideways a little bit.
And
But
and in the shoulders, neck and spine, what do you feel is happening in the sitting and standing?
Well, the left side feels really good.
Yes.
And the right side still has tension, but it's not an achy tension.
It's not
anymore.
an achy tension.
It's like it's reducing.
Reducing
And
tension.
now I feel there is a reaction. Yeah, it's like here, like the front side of the here. These muscles are more engaged, and I don't know whether I would say they are necessarily tense. It could just be that they wake up and that I notice them.
That's it. So your noticing can go off into all of these different directions.
And I noticed that there is, for instance, the arms are feeling really relaxed now.
Yeah, your arms have gone heavier, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They don't feel heavy. They feel just relaxed. They
Relaxed.
feel just good.
Okay.
It's like if something is hydrated versus if something is dehydrated or dry.
Yeah.
So that's perhaps more the quality I would describe it.
I've never heard Alexander described as a hydration method, but I like it actually. It's quite nice. It's like you're a plant and we're just watering you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I can buy that. That's a good one. Yeah, sometimes I've described it, or it's been described as anti-inflammatory, or releasing, relaxing, flowing. But hydration, yeah, it's a good one. Can I use it?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hydration. Hydration, yeah. Yeah. Watering the parts that aren't normally reached. Yeah. Circulation, clearly. Yeah, in a way it is hydration because blood's now moving around parts that aren't normally accessible. So I think there's truth, a lot of truth in what you're saying. Let me take you further forwards. That's it. Nothing's happening in the neck and shoulders, and then stand up with the heels. Yeah, and then walk around, and I'll walk with you this time. And then you walk back to the stool, and there's nothing to notice. Good. Let's have you on the table for a little while. Okay, so same thing now. I'm going to move you. And I'm going to move your leg. So what's happening in the body at the moment?
Body says, yeah, this is nice.
The body says, yes, it's nice. Okay.
It's nice.
What's nice about it? Can you describe, or is that not such an easy question?
Well, it's relaxing at this moment, particularly the diaphragm, so I can breathe better.
Right, okay. So
it's
something
like,
is regulating the breath. So
yeah, so it's like breathing. It feels like, you know, I could also close my eyes, and it feels like a very parasympathetic kind of thing.
Right,
That's
rather than sympathetic.
Yeah, very it's like
not activating adrenaline, cortisol.
No,
and
it's
stress.
the opposite. It's
And
like
the
it's really relaxing.
So you're coming off the patterns of what we were talking about before, the uptight, and you're down regulating. And that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. Where the system can rest and digest.
Yeah.
And my job is to give you the experience of this rest, digest, relaxation, or parasympathetic. Yeah. So that your system, did you hear that? What did you hear just then?
Yeah, it's like the...
You heard the gurgle?
The gurgling.
So the gurgle is an indication of very deep relaxation. The peristalsis of the gut is then facilitated. There's a gurgle often as an indication of deep relaxation. Doesn't mean you're hungry. You might be.
No, I'm not. I ate before.
So there you go.
Didn't want to bring hunger into this situation.
So it wasn't a hunger thing. It was actually
not.
a deep relaxation of something processing. Yeah. And the gut processes emotional information, as well as food. So the gut is an emotional brain as well as a physical structure. That's why gut feelings happen. So my job is to give you the experience of a different way of being, which is more parasympathetic, away from uptight to down free. So you experience the way of being of rest and digest, as a new way of being, or a more dominant way of being that you can have when you're sitting and standing, and you're feeling all of these shifts and changes and more tone and less tone in different places. Things were just doing their own thing, but you and I weren't working them out. That was important. You variously said, I'm feeling more tone here, or it's not necessarily uncomfortable, I'm feeling this, you were feeling all of these things, but you weren't creating them. They were creating themselves as a result of the whole organism recovering. In recovery, it does what it needs to do, but you and I weren't working it out, and that's the point. You didn't have to work out anything in the walk, you were just walking in a condition of regulation, of recovery, and the walking was doing its own thing. Your breath right now, it's doing its own thing. You're not working out how to breathe deeply. You're finding the diaphragm
very relaxed.
more relaxed and doing what it needs to do, but you weren't working out what to do from here. So you could say the deeper levels of Alexander is leaving biology to win, and not you and me working things out. So you're not learning posture here, but the posture will change. There'll be different tonuses going on all throughout the body. There may be more of a lengthening around the neck. There may be a lengthening of the spine, an opening of the shoulders, a releasing of the chest. Sure, but you won't compute it. Does that make sense?
Doesn't make sense.
So in a way, the Alexander teacher is there to help you get out of your way so that the organism functions at the highest level possible. So you can see I'm moving your body, and what are you doing? What condition are you in?
I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying it, that's nice. And what's enjoyable is that you're letting me do it, and you're leaving yourself alone, and you're in a condition of letting or allowing. That's the condition that I'm hoping to invite you into, the condition of surrendering control. And it's enjoyable not to be in control all the time. Still doing stuff, isn't it? We won't go into it too deeply today, but that continual gurgle may be a sign that you're actually processing some of the anxiety, fear that would normally dominate, but it's now able to transform.
Well, that's an ongoing theme for me at the moment, to befriend anxiety in a different way.
Well, that's it.
Before.
So when you sit with it, or lie with it, and be with it, then it can do its process. When we react against it as an enemy, then it stays stuck.
Well, I'm feeling a little bit anxious, you know, even as I'm here letting you do this.
Exactly.
But I'm kind of, so I'm aware of the anxiety.
Exactly.
It's not that it's not
Isn't
there.
that an interesting combination?
Yes.
To be able to be with anxiety, but also be safe enough to be with the anxiety.
Yeah.
That's the combination. It's not that feeling anxious is good in itself. It's not at all. But to be safe enough to have the full feelings of anxiety in a safe condition, that's process work. Because many things make us anxious. You could hardly say that's therapeutic.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now is enjoyably, allowingly feeling anxious in a place where you can sit with and befriend. That's exactly what you're doing right now. You're befriending it because you're saying, do your business. Hit me. Do anxiety at me. I'm here with you. Befriending. That's exactly. And the gurgle says, yeah, you're doing your process. You're doing the work of transformation. And that's powerful stuff. And most of us, if we're not in such a safe condition, or what you call enjoyable, would react to anxiety by trying to get rid of, or bracing against, or controlling against, and then the anxiety just sticks around in a very different way, in a stuck way, in a way that doesn't transform and process. And that's the theme of what you're doing.
Although I'm noticing as I'm brought this up, it also there was a little bit of a tensing on the inside of my thigh, so that was, you know, bringing attention to it has caused caused a shift in the body. So there's like now this is like an effort to keep it in this place, you know. Yes. So now
yes. And you can't do anything wrong there either. That's also working itself through. Sometimes there'll be a little holding, and then a letting, and then a holding, and you'll navigate through all of that. And you won't necessarily be choosing the timing of any of these processes and evolutions. But biology will choose the timing of all your processing work, as you say, your theme. So nothing to do, and now we're going to get off. Any other questions popping in? Anything else?
No, it's just interesting to experience this, and I think it's really enjoyable, and it reminds me of experiences that I've had. Yeah. Also, of bodywork experiences. But what I find is really interesting is it seems always like a little bit less. Like what you're doing is a little bit less. So it seems you're not doing the whole thing, but you stop before. Very good. Something. Stop before it's overwhelming. Exactly right. It's titration. A little bit less. Yeah, so because we're not trying to introduce you to some terror. Yeah. But to titrate, so you process and process and process within your range of processing, and not push you into a little bit more. Yeah. And being over ambitious to re-experience trauma. That's not trauma work. Good trauma work is little less, process, little less. Yeah, that's what I feel. It's like it's enough to make it clear what the intention is to my body, apparently. Yes. So it's just, I can observe this now after I've experienced it for a little while. You can observe it. Your brain is in gear. But but my body actually continues what you are initiating. Very good. So that's what I'm noticing. Your body can continue what we initiate. On your own. Yeah. That's right. And the flip side would be if I threw some big overdose of trauma at you that you experienced, it would be too much. That would re-traumatize the system and throw you into adaptation. Oh my gosh, shock, horror, pull up, uptight. And we don't want that, do we? We want processing that is with me, and it can carry on after we've worked in a safe space. Because only in safety do you process trauma. Only in safety. You can't process trauma in unsafety. So if it comes up in a way that's overwhelming, it's not therapeutic. It's just experience, which isn't very clever. So now you're going to roll onto your left-hand side, and then this way, and your feet come over the side of the table. Yeah, both feet, perfect. And then help yourself off the table and come to the stool. Yeah. And then here you are. Good. Which one, this one? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, good. Okay. That's your first lesson. Thank you. Good stuff. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, anything you want to share, or do you just want to let it sink, percolate, and do its own thing? Or do you want to say? Well, I think I have commented along the way. You have all the way. I feel You've been great. Said everything I have to say. I think you have. I couldn't have wished for more for a demonstration than your full participation. Thank you. So this was very enjoyable. I'm happy I came. Thank you, Danny, for inviting me. And good feelings, good vibes from the whole audience. So. Yeah, they weren't overly disturbing, were they? No, not at all. They were just. I had the feeling they were grinning and happy that I could see so many things. They were rooting for you. So yeah, they were on your side. A lot of good empathy here. Yeah, they were on your side. Yeah. But empathy is exactly the word. So, exactly. That's what we all have to develop. Empathy. Yeah. That's the great. Good stuff. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Good to meet you.